Mark, 30 seconds until airtime. Once again, stations, if you encounter technical issues during the broadcast, please call the Oregon Studio Hotline at 336-831-0864. Stations, your final time cue will be with 15 seconds until airtime. Mark, 15 seconds until airtime.
Duck's gonna pick it up, and here we go. Got him deep. He's open. He's got it. He's gone. How about that? Oregon repeats as the Pac-12 champion.
Duarte pulls up, 3-ball. Bang!
LJ Figueroa!
Oregon goes back-to-back for the fourth time in the last 6 years. The Ducks are Pac-12 champions.
Foley three. Goal! Foley ball. Three is good. Diarra-Savali. Wing. Pow. Yeah, boom, boom.
Welcome to Duck Insider.
What a weekend.
We're just getting started.
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College. Presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Better banking, local solutions. Live from the Country Financial Studio, here's Joey Mack.
Welcome to a Tuesday edition of the show. It is Athletic Director Tuesday, brought to you by Pepsi and locally owned Bigfoot Beverages. I am happy to welcome our Chief Compliance Officer, Jody Sykes, to the program. She's going to be chatting with us about Oregon women's golf because, you know, she's also not just the Chief Compliance Officer. She's also the sports administrator for women's golf. We have that for you coming up today. Some good news around Oregon football as we'll continue to break down that organizational chart. Going to talk a little about the offense today. Anthony Brown, a couple of his comments from post-game after the spring game. Chris Hudson, Johnny Johnson, Micah Pittman, and Spencer Webb also all met with the media. We have that for you coming up. And then I've got a ton of other things to get to, including, and let's begin here, with men's tennis. That's right. For the 8th time in program history, the Oregon men's tennis team has earned a spot in the NCAA Division I Tennis Championships. The Ducks are an at-large selection. They will face Alabama in the first-round matchup Saturday at 9 a.m. Pacific time at the Hurd Tennis Center. That's in Waco, Texas. Program will be making its fifth NCAA appearance under head coach Neil Schelander, who previously has guided Oregon to the national tournament in, get this, 14, 16. Then he bucked the trend 17 and 18. Been a fan of the even years as a head coach, but now bucking the trend again here in 2021, though I think the Ducks probably would have made it last year too. Coach Schelander, though, did say, quote, "It was probably the last at-large bid called." Oh. Coach and team, congratulations. Good luck. In addition to the Ducks in Alabama, the Waco site will feature the number 2 overall seed in Baylor. So we'll see what happens. That's coming up on Saturday. Good luck. We'll preview that over the course of the week. Now, let me welcome in our guest via the University of Oregon Alumni Association guest line. Jody Sykes is here. She's always kind enough to take some time every time we ask, even when she thinks that she may have jury duty. She's always willing to take time and join us, which I always appreciate. Every time I talk with Jody, I learn something new about what's going on and kind of the inner workings of college athletics. And we're going to talk about that, but I want to start today, Jody, with a happy May the 4th to you. Scott and I are self-proclaimed probably the biggest dorks in the athletic department. We take a lot of pride in that. My first question is there anybody that even comes close to rivaling our level of dorkness here on May the 4th?
I don't know. I might be right up there with you.
Oh!
One of my favorite days. I was sending memes this morning with Yoda saying, "May the 4th be with you." You know, this scene in the Big Bang Theory TV show where they talk about May the 4th is one of my favorite TV shows. I might be right there with you all.
Yes. I did not mean to have that happen when I scheduled Jody for May the 4th. I mean, honestly, I didn't even think about it until I noticed, like, oh yeah, it's going to be May the 4th. This is great. Okay, so also, though, in all seriousness, we can have some fun with that. I know that a lot of people have very strong feelings about if we should be, quote-unquote, celebrating this day. But I'll just say, like, when something happens in the world of pop culture where you have an entire day that a lot of people either get really excited about or really angry about, I mean, God, we could all be so lucky. So I think we need to come up with a self-proclaimed like Oregon Ducks Day.
Ooh, I like it.
I don't know what the date would be. Do we know, like, when was the duck officially born? When was the original Puddles born? Maybe that could be, like, Oregon Ducks Day.
Or maybe the founding of the University of Oregon. Like
there you go.
University was founded. That could be Ducks Day.
There you go. So I'm just throwing it out there. If anybody has any suggestions, you just go ahead and let us know. Well, we were talking about your role as the Chief Compliance Officer, Jody, and I always learn something every time we have you on. But I want to start today with women's golf in all seriousness. I mean, that team has just done some amazing things. Yeah, that's right. Clap it up, as Scott Phillips is doing, for Derek Radley, Monica Vaughn, and the Oregon women's golf team. So they're going to regionals. If you missed our announcement, they found out last week they're going to regionals. Just another year that they're going to regionals, and they continue to climb leaderboards. Jody, I mean, you must be pretty darn proud of this squad.
I am very, very proud of this squad and the coaches. The Monica and Derek got their first win as a team win as coaches down at ASU earlier this year. And now, for I don't even know how many years straight, we are going to a regional and have a very strong chance and to advance, knocking on wood and crossing fingers, to advance to the national championship at Greyhawk in Scottsdale, Arizona. The field at LSU for the Baton Rouge Regional looks very good, but it's a reasonable field for the Ducks. We are going in strong. We have some really outstanding contributions from Brianna Chacon and Cynthia Liu, and just all of the team that's just stepping up. We have this new substitution rule this year. So 6 of the members of the team are going to travel, and then we play 5 and count 4. But if somebody's struggling or gets injured or has something, we have this potential opportunity to substitute in.
Interesting.
So this is new for women's golf. This is a new thing. The men have been doing it for 2 years, I think, now. But the women, this is their first foray into the substitution world. So it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be fun.
Did that come, was that always in the workings, or was this kind of accelerated due to COVID so you can have a full roster?
Yeah, so it's really actually the story behind where I think this came from is really interesting. And I don't know if you remember when we hosted the national championship at Eugene Country Club back in 2016. There was a University of Texas men's golfer who got hurt. His shoulder was injured. And there's actually a viral picture of me escorting him back to the pairings area for the match play after he had been treated by the doctor. And at the time it was viral. I don't know if it is anymore. but Texas ended up only being able to put 4 student athletes into match play because of his shoulder injury. He wasn't able to play. And so, when you only have 4 in match play, you automatically are conceding 1 point even before you tee off because you don't have that 5th matchup. And so the year after that, which would have been 16-17 rather, they talked about it, and then I think they voted it in the year after that to where you could travel an extra person, and it's intended for this, kind of injury type situation, but it could affect, if somebody's really struggling on a particular golf course or really just mentally checked out, I mean, you could potentially sub them out for that reason too. Men implemented it a couple years ago. The women are just now doing it for the first time this year. I think we should have done it last year, but obviously we didn't play because of COVID in 2020. So this 2021 championship season is the first time we're actually going to implement it for the women. But it's intended for those scenarios where someone gets injured, where, you have something really wrong happening and you still want to be able to play 5 people and count 4 scores or have 5 people in your match play.
I like that, though. I mean, it shows the depth of rosters, and sometimes that's important. Jody Sykes joining us. She's in charge of Oregon women's golf, and it is the 13th straight NCAA regional for Oregon women's golf. They're the number 4 seed officially in the Baton Rouge regional. It's going to begin here coming up. And so, look, as I think about this field, because it starts tomorrow for the regional play, as I look at this field, Jody, I mean, I don't want to, put on my prediction cap here too much, but I think that the way that you described it, that you like the Ducks' chances if they play well, I think I do too, which is pretty darn exciting.
Absolutely. I mean, we have really solid players that are really, just talented, adaptable golfers. And so, we haven't really played a lot of time on Bermuda grass, which is a little different grass, a little thicker grass. So we're going to go down. Actually, we're leaving on Friday to get some extra practice in on Saturday. Official practice round is Sunday, and then the tournament itself is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And so we'll go down a little bit early to adapt not only to the humidity, but also to this Bermuda grass and these greens that are going to be a little different than what we would normally play on out here in the West. But super excited for them. I think they're a phenomenal group of young people, and the coaches, Derek and Monica, are just, outstanding.
Man, this is so cool. So I have a couple follow-up questions to ask you, and I think I said Wednesday. I meant that it's going to conclude next Wednesday for the tournament, so thank you, Jody. Now, are golfers the most knowledgeable people about grass apart from actual landscapers that you've ever met?
I would definitely say so. I mean, when I was growing up, and I think these programs still exist, you could actually go to college for a turf management, like kind of golf management program.
Sure.
Where you actually learned about all of the different kinds of grass and what they do and how they grow and when they're dormant and all of that. But yes, absolutely. I would say golfers and their caddies, especially at the professional level, are the most knowledgeable about grass and how it grows with the grain, against the grain, what the rough is going to look like, just all of those things, because it factors so much into how they play the course, how they make their decisions about which club to hit. It's just kind of inherent in how you grow up learning the sport. You have to grow up learning what to look for around the grass and around the course, and how to hit off dirt, or how to hit off hard pan, or how to hit out of the sand, or it's not just the grass. Like, it's all of the elements of a golf course.
Scott, how many types of grass seed and types of grass can you mention off the top of your head?
Bill Murray.
We do live in the grass seed capital of the world, do we not?
That's right, we do. We do. I'll be honest. I've made this joke before. Like, I can name bluegrass because I feel like that's a commonly referenced one, and outside of that, I am useless.
I have a lot of weeds in my yard.
Weeds. I like it. Weeds. That's great.
So this is maybe we're really getting into the crux of why I am not a good golfer. I'm just not cut out for it. I don't have the knowledge. As Jody Sykes joins us. Okay. In all seriousness, though, Jody, I mean, how cool was it to see both Brianna and Cynthia end up on that All Pac-12 team? First time that Oregon women's golf in the history of the program has had two on the first team in conference. That's cool.
Yeah, they were just phenomenal. I mean, and Brianna has finished top 10 in 5 straight tournaments, I think it is. She's just having a phenomenal year. And for those that don't know, Cynthia's a freshman.
Yeah.
Not here in the fall term. She just came over here to the United States in January and has just played just incredibly well. She had a little struggle at the Pac-12 tournament, but still contributed and was worthy of being on that Pac-12 tournament team, or whatever the official title is. But super exciting for the program, and just the upward trajectory of the women's golf program, the recruiting, the progress, the world rankings, all of that are just shooting sky high.
All right. We've talked about this too, as we've got, a national champion as an assistant golf coach. We also are now about to say that we have someone who qualified for the U.S. Women's Open as an assistant golf coach in Monica Vaughn. Now, those of you who've been with us on the show have heard us talk about this, and also a pro duck that qualified for the U.S. Women's Open. Jody, tell us a little bit about that, just how cool that is.
Oh my gosh, right? So Monday, after we get back from Pac-12 tournaments, we got a couple of U.S. Women's Open qualifiers going on. So for those that don't know, these are events that are held around the country where women of any amateur status or professional status who aren't already qualified can go to these sites and play 36 holes in one day. Okay, so you're playing 36 holes, walking, doing the whole thing in one day. And the top 2 people from each of those sites gets a bid or gets a spot in the U.S. Women's Open Championship. Like, this is probably one of the pinnacles of the Ladies Professional Golf Association. Just it's a major, it's a huge tournament, and this year it happens to be in San Francisco.
Woo!
It's out in the West Coast, and not only on that Monday did Monica Vaughn go shoot 63 in her first round, but goes on to beat out the professionals and all the amateurs in her site up in Portland, actually up near Woodburn, and advance as a qualifier to the U.S. Women's Open. But then at the same time, going on in Northern California, Kathleen Scavo, who is one of our pro ducks, has been working to play on the professional tour, goes and wins her site. And so on the same day, we get Monica Vaughn, assistant golf coach for the Ducks, and former Duck Kathleen Scavo into the U.S. Women's Open. I mean, how cool is that?
Yeah, it's a great day to be a Duck. You know,
Right?
when I was following all that and then we talked about it on the show, it just kind of hit me, Jody, like, man, this may never happen again. Like, it probably won't. I mean, this is like a once-in-a-lifetime sort of deal, and it's just amazing that all this is going on while the women's golf team is just on that upward trajectory, as you said. It's pretty darn cool. So be following along next week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So, Jody, you're going with them, right? Because you're the good luck
I
charm.
am. Yes, it's postseason. I always travel in the postseason. I love being around the team. I just try to be helpful and, get water or, fetch the lunches or if that's what's needed. And I am going to go with them and deal with the humidity of Baton Rouge, but I also get to get some good jambalaya and maybe etouffee while we're down there.
Catfish.
Some Cajun yummies. So that's the plan. I'll be there. I'll send you any updates if you need them.
Oh, I'm so jealous.
I'm not bringing you any food back though.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I know. You knew I was going to ask, though. I'm glad that you knew. How many now? All right, serious question. How many types of grass can you mention off the top of your head?
3 for sure: bluegrass, Bermuda, and POA. But I'm sure there's like a bazillion more.
POA?
POA.
That's a new one for me,
Or,
Jody.
or Poana. It's also, I think it's also called Poana. I think POA and Poana grass are the same. I'd have to Google.
Anybody in the comment section that you could have listed off like gibberish, and I would have been like, wow, yeah, there's a lot of types of grass. I feel like this is my next level of education in the sport of golf.
Ooh, how about fescue? Fescue is a common one.
Oh, I've heard of that actually. I have
Fescue's
no
not
idea.
a very fun one, I don't think.
All I have in my yard is whatever I get from Jerry's Home Improvement. And I have no idea.
Bent grass is common on golf courses too, I think.
What's an outfield baseball outfield planted with? Does anyone know?
I don't know.
All right, we're going to find that out. This is Grass Insider. It's Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. We're inside the Country Financial Studio. All right, quick time out. When we come back, Jody can update us on some of the headlines to watch for, because it's actually probably the last time that we'll talk Jody on the show until we're back for the fall season starting in August. So that means we got a lot to cover. We're going to do that. Also,
Absolutely.
I should have said we're going to talk with Melyssa Lombardi coming up as well, talking Oregon softball. Stick with us. It's a busy show on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
Hi, welcome to the Spicy Drive-In. May I take your order?
Can I get the spicy chicken sandwich, please?
The spicy chicken is an excellent choice, sir. And to drink?
Whatever's fine.
Oh, may I make a beverage pairing recommendation this evening?
Sure.
If we are feeling especially bold tonight, sir, I would recommend the Mountain Dew with that. It's bravely unrestrained with a very alive aroma that pairs wonderfully with your spicy chicken. It's followed by a hint of zesty citrus flavor.
Yeah, that sounds amazing.
I'm sure you already know this, sir, but remember to appreciate the nose first by giving the Mountain Dew a little swirl to relieve volatilize it.
What?
To change the flavor compounds and activate your taste buds to get them fully primed for that chicken sandwich.
It's delicious.
Now you're getting the hang of it. The muscular flavor charge characteristics of Mountain Dew make for an absolutely epic mouthfeel when paired with spicy cuisine. It is quite on point, sir.
Dude, it's a perfect match. Like they were made for each other.
So true, so true.
When you want to make good food bolder and bold food better, do the Dew.
Your daily dose of Oregon athletics. This is Duck Insider from Learfield IMG College.
Okay, man, this is your time. Maybe you didn't choose this, but you're here now. You're gonna go out there and be an all-star caregiver. Cook, clean, be there emotionally and physically. You gotta dig deeper. Drive them to physical therapy, doctor's appointments, because that's what caregivers do. Don't give up. Show the world that you're tougher than tough. Caregiving is tougher than tough. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Is that a faucet running?
That's not a faucet. That's a river rushing through the forest. Forest rivers provide over 100 million people with clean water to drink.
What? I can't hear you because of the vacuum.
That's not a vacuum. That's the trees in the forest cleaning up the air we breathe.
I didn't know the trees were so amazing.
Yep, and the forest gives us shade, trees to climb.
That's awesome. Let's go explore some more.
Visit the forest today and enjoy all it does, just for you. To learn more about the forest and find one near you, go to discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Grass Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Joey Mack inside the Country Financial Studio. I did not know that that's where this was going to go. We got a couple messages about this. And so Jody, first, you found out, as Jody Sykes joins us, Chief Compliance Officer, Grass Specialist, and Women's Golf Sports Administrator. So Kentucky Bluegrass, the most common for baseball outfields?
Yeah, that's what Google says.
Great.
You know, trust Google, right?
Thank you to our friends at the Big G. And then Vicky Strand, a friend of the program, longtime University of Oregon employee, she said, quote, "We have POA in our fields at the athletic department, actually, not in a good way. It makes the grass look patchy." She said that I always had to ask the POA question when we interviewed for grounds managers, but know nothing about growing grass. So,
gotta love it.
Thank you, Vicky. Yeah, this is, did not know that this was the direction that it was going to go. But it does actually, it really does change the way that you go about playing, right? I mean, everything's a little bit different for different golf courses, and that's why I think people can really, maybe this is where getting into the weeds, maybe that's where that phrase comes from, is everybody's kind of, you do need to get into the weeds a little bit and talk about the way it's going to affect the game.
It definitely affects the course management. I mean, that's one of the conversations I'm sure that Coach Derek and Coach Monica are having with the team this week, is not only that we're going to basically be, I think, at sea level, in that. I'm not exactly sure what the elevation is there, but that changes things. And then you know how you manage a course given the different grasses, especially around and on the greens. It's going to make a difference how you approach the course, how you figure out how to score, where the birdie opportunities are. I mean, those are all the things that go into being a coach and managing a golf course and helping your student athletes succeed on the golf course.
All right, let's talk a little bit about compliance because that's your really other job.
My other job, right?
Yeah. So, all right, one of the things I always like to ask you, Jody, is like, okay, it's been about a month to a month and a half usually between times that we have you on the show. What's happened in the last 6 weeks that fans should know about and that maybe if fans did see headlines, they would have questions about?
Yeah, I think probably the biggest thing that's been the headline grabber in the last few weeks has just been that we are going to go away from the dead period. As most of our fans and donors and friends of the program know, we have been in a COVID dead period since March of last year, March of 2020, and that will end officially on May 31st.
Woo!
The coaches are very excited, I think. So June 1st, all of the sport programs will go back to what's called their recruiting calendar. Every sport has a recruiting calendar that says, whether you're in a contact period or a dead period or a quiet period or whatever that might be. So for example, sport of softball is in a quiet period until they finish the Women's College World Series, so that folks who are not playing in the Women's College World Series don't have an advantage to go out in front of the coaches that are in the Women's College World Series. So their calendar is set up to be dead and quiet until that competition is over. And then everybody has the same calendar for the rest of June and July. Volleyball, for example, has, I think, 3 quiet days at the beginning of June. And then on June 4th, they go into a contact period. So even though everything's going to change as of June 1st, if you have a specific recruiting calendar, you still have to abide by that. And you still have to do whatever that calendar says. Now, as with everything that we've been experiencing for the last year, there are COVID changes and there are COVID exceptions being made left and right.
You don't say.
A lot of things that are coming up in the May 17th council meeting at the NCAA level that could affect some of what's going to happen on June 1st. As we've all learned, everything is kind of go with the flow, adapt and overcome, because things are continually changing and we just don't know exactly how things are going to play out. And then the other caveat to all of this that we always throw out, and I'm sure we've talked about it repeatedly, is even though everything from the NCAA level is basically going back to quote unquote normal, starting June 1st, everything in every part of the country, exactly normal, everything is still subject to county, city, state restrictions, and everything might not open the same way in every part of the country on June 1st. And we're seeing it in regular parts of life, and we're going to see it in recruiting, in athletics visits, in camps and clinics, in all of those things that, things may not just be back to whatever they were once on June 1st. There will be some restrictions in various parts of the country for every school, for every state, for every sport that we just, again, have to adapt and overcome.
Jody Sykes joining us, Chief Compliance Officer. So we know that there's going to be a lot of lasting implications in life and particularly in college athletics with COVID. I mean, Jody, do you have a sense of just like, we hope it's a return to semi-normal, as you alluded to, but just what some of those lasting impacts are going to be? I mean, do we even have our heads around that yet?
I don't think we do from a comprehensive perspective yet, because we're still in the middle of a pandemic and we haven't even had a chance to look back and process. But some of the things that we have heard that have gone well is that the coaches had to adapt to this virtual world of recruiting, and they were still able to recruit and not be on the road as much. So I have a feeling that some of that will stay. Some of these virtual tours and virtual opportunities will stay. We're still in a budget situation, not only here at the university, but nationwide. There are many schools who have budget situations. So I think that there will be ways that we've learned to adapt to that reduced budget under COVID, that we will be able to carry forward and continue to, do that. I think that there will be bits and pieces of things that we can take from this time and do better. One of the things that we've learned when we do these monthly Be Oregon presentations that we talked about last month when I was on the show was that folks can't always get to where we have the location. So if we're doing the presentation in the cast, folks from the arena or wherever might not be able to get there. So we still need to do them via Zoom or via virtual something for those folks who can't get there but really want to see the content or really want to learn about the topic. So that's something that we've learned that we're going to continue. Even when we go back in person, we want to keep doing some of these things in a virtual way so that they reach more people.
Here's the broadcast version of that. I actually think that we will continue to do Zoom interviews via the U of O Alumni Association guest line. I mean, as much as I like people sitting in the chair, having them on a TV, it works. We can do it this way if it's easier for everybody's schedule. I totally hear that. So, Jody, this is probably the last time that we'll talk before Duck and Cider takes its usual, I don't even remember how long it is, 5-week break, I think, when there's no athletic events going on. We've all got some track and field, hopefully, to be celebrating this month, or this summer, I should say. But, then we come back for fall camp, and it's like, okay, full steam ahead. Now, since it'll be a while since we talk, what's going to be on your calendar? What are you going to be dealing with? What are things that are kind of coming up here in the next few months?
Well, I think, a lot of us are dealing with a return to work plan. As you noted, many of us are not in the office still. There are a few coaches and things that are in the office. You've been in the office for some time because that's where your studio is.
Jody, it's so sad. I want everybody to come back, please, as soon as we can.
I've been home since March of last year. March 19th was when I went home. And, other than pick up some supplies, I have not really been back in the office. And so, I think we're all kind of trying to figure out what that's going to look like between probably June and August, maybe June and September, depending on how things go. But as you noted, we are expecting and planning for the fall sports of women's soccer, the 2 cross countries, football, and volleyball to return early to mid-August, depending on their calendar. And, so that means a return to everything that we would have done via Zoom, and maybe we're still doing some of it via Zoom, but in-person practices and in-person meetings and in-person interactions with those teams and those students and those coaches to get them started for the fall. Before you know it, we're going to be back into regular football season, and hopefully if everybody can wear their masks and get their vaccine, we might have a full stadium or a partially full stadium. Maybe, please help us out, please. That's the goal, right? We're trying to do everything that we can from May 4th today through the end of July that gets us back to full fan participation for those fall sports. That's the goal, right? Not only in-person school for the students, but in-person fans at the events and in-person activities on larger scales. That's ultimately what our office is working toward while we adapt to whatever's thrown our way as well. And then, of course, this summer is probably going to be all name, image, and likeness all the time because we just still don't know exactly what that's going to entail, what that's going to look like, what that's going to bring on our plates. So those are my predictions for what the coming months will look like.
Yeah, a lot of big topics. We get questions about it, Jody, as I know you guys do as well, of what it's going to look like. And I've answered it kind of the same way as it pertains to name, image, likeness. We just don't know yet. There's still so many moving parts and so many different – it's like any legislative issue that's a large countrywide, and then it goes down to states, then it's local, then it's each school. Is that a good description, I guess? Is that fair for me to say that we just still don't exactly know how it's going to all filter out?
100%. We've got as you mentioned, so many moving parts, Joey. We've got the states that are proposing stuff. We have some states that already have things that have been passed and have effective dates that keep shifting. We've got some states that passed one thing that's effective in 23, but then they're trying to pass something else that's effective immediately. We've got, I think, 8 different bills at the federal level that are trying to give this, encompassing overarching umbrella so that we don't have all this state division. And then the NCAA can't really act on anything until we get the state and federal stuff under control. So all of the bylaws that we had proposed or were looking at back in January have just been sitting there because we have to wait on this federal and state process to work its way out, in addition to the Alston case, which was heard by the Supreme Court in March, and the outcome of that affects some of this. So there's just so much that we're expecting change and we're preparing for it, and we're trying to educate folks on what they might need to know. But a lot of it, honestly, is just so unknown that we just are doing the best we can to kind of tread water and keep up until we actually know what we're dealing with, whether that's at the state of Oregon level or if that's more federally or nationally based on whatever's passed. And we just don't know.
Wealth of information. Jody Sykes, our Chief Compliance Officer, the Oregon Women's Golf Sports Administrator. It's Athletic Director Tuesday. Always brought to you by our friends at Pepsi and locally owned Bigfoot Beverages. Go Ducks. Drink Pepsi. Thank you, Jody, for joining us as always. Did we miss anything? I mean, I feel like I always keep you longer than I'm supposed to.
No, I always have great conversations. Thanks for having me. And, if we need me back in the summer for a filler, let me know. We'll make it work.
You're the best. Hey, do me a favor. Eat extra jambalaya for me and Scott. And thank you, as always, for our Grass Insider. And please ask Coach Radley and Coach Vaughn if they could break down, like different swatches. I'm imagining, like, you go and get, like, different paint swatches. Like, I wonder if you can do this for grass and then, like, roll a golf ball on it, see how it works. I think that we might need to do a full breakdown on Grass
like
Insider.
sod samples and do an actual, like, tutorial of, like, how things roll on the different sod samples. Yeah, we could do that.
I'm telling you, this could be you know what? We just came up with a whole new short form Duck Insider summer series of Grass Insider.
Seriously, we should do it. We should get all the golf coaches, all 4 golf coaches, you, me, HJ. We'll go out. We'll do some different tutorials. We'll teach people about the different kinds of grass. Yeah, I like it. Let's do it.
All right. Don't ask me to swing a golf club, all right? Just don't do it. Baseball swing, it's never going to change. Everyone tells me that you're supposed to be better about, being able to play golf because you've played baseball. I don't buy it.
It's actually harder. No, it's harder. If you play baseball or softball, it's harder to play golf. The swing planes are completely different. So you have to be super, super, super athletic to be able to be good at baseball and golf because the swing planes are completely different. I've taught long enough to know this.
Yeah, not athletic right here. So this is, we're...
Don't worry, I can't do it either. I can swing a golf club, but I can't swing a bat to save my life.
Yeah, all right. So see, I'm not crazy. I told everybody.
You're not.
Yeah. Terry Johns. Terry's athletic enough. He can do both. That's what I've learned today. Our edition of Grass Insider brought to you by On Point Community Credit Union. Thank you, Jody. Always appreciate it. I'm sorry that we kept you longer than we said we would.
All good. I love it. Thanks for having me.
All right, we're going to get a timeout. Try to get back on the rails at some point. We're going to hear from Coach Lombardi. We actually talked with Coach Lombardi just a little while ago, and we have that for you coming up next on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union. Join in. OnPointCU.com. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
After 2 years of construction, my wife and I finally moved into our dream home. So when a bathtub fixture broke, causing major water damage, I was glad we had the home insurance protection we needed. How do you know your home is protected? Talk to a Country Financial rep like me, Nick Simon. We can help you understand your options and select coverages to meet your needs. Then if something happens to your home, you won't have any surprises. Need the right coverage for your home but not sure where to start? Visit TakeSimpleSteps.com or contact a local Country representative.
You're listening to Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
Hundo P. Hundo P. Adjective. Short for being 100% sure or certain. As in, if we get a puppy, I'll Hundo P always walk it.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
A ranger station.
I'd like to report a bear hug.
Okay.
I put out my campfire and Smokey Bear hugged me.
So you drowned the fire, you stirred it, drowned it again, and felt that it was cold?
Uh-huh.
Yep, he's just letting you know you did good.
Bear hug from Smokey Bear. Status update.
I'm gonna let you go now. There are many ways to start a fire, but one sure way to put it out. Learn how you can do your part at SmokeyBear.com.
Sponsored by the U.S. Forest Service, Ad Council, and your state forester.
We're back on Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Inside the Country Financial Studio, we go from one guest to another via the University of Oregon Alumni Association guest line. Melyssa Lombardi's joining us, head coach Oregon softball, coming off their weekend. Coach, let's start first. We'll recap the entire weekend, but I want to talk about the gritty extra inning performance on Friday because I got to tell you, I'm keeping track of both baseball and softball. I've got two TVs going at the same time. I'm listening to the guys at KWVA. I'm listening to the guy who's filling in for us doing Oregon baseball, and it was like sensory duck diamond sport overload, and I just loved it. So I was on the edge of my seat the whole time. What was it like coaching a gritty win on that Friday night?
It was great. I was so proud of our team and just the fight that they had. We jumped ahead early in the game and facing a powerful ASU. So, they came right back at us. And then from there to go into extra innings, to watch Brooke have a great performance, but from there to pass the ball to McKenna and for McKenna to hold them down and then to see Reagan come in and close the game out. It was pretty awesome. I know our team was pretty pumped up about getting that win.
We'll talk a little bit about the rest of the weekend in a second, but I want to zero in on that relief performance. I mean, 6 innings allowing just 1 run in relief. I felt like that's going to be one of the games where I'll look back and be like, that's the pitching staff that you've been looking for, right?
For sure. I mean, that's I think we are at our best when we are a staff, and for them to continue to do their work and then pass the ball on to the next. So I think they're very confident in each other, very supportive of each other. I really like how they work together and just the different looks that they give. That was 3 different looks that ASU got that night.
So that was Friday. The rest of the weekend didn't go according to plan. Now, what were some of your takeaways from the rest of the weekend?
I think with the rest of the weekend, you look at our ability to put runs on the board. I mean, we were putting runs on the board, and I liked that. I liked how we would jump out to a quick start, but from there, I just think at times, we were giving some runs back, and I just think ASU is an explosive team, and we just can't give them opportunity, and I think that's where we struggled a little bit, is that we would give some opportunity and they would take it.
So Arizona State's pretty good because they're in the Pac-12, right?
Yeah.
That makes sense. So I just want to give some people some context to this. So ASU is now number 10 in the RPI right now as of today. Oregon's sitting at number 16. Now, you and I, Coach, were just talking during the break, like, this is still a very, very strong conference that you guys are playing in, and the schedule's been tough for you guys.
It has. It's been really tough. I mean, the Pac is the best, and, it's been a grind, and to watch this team evolve, to watch how much we've grown just from the beginning of the Pac to where we are now. And we've learned a lot. We've walked away with a lot of wins. We've walked away with losses. But what I do know is that the process and what we're going through right now and what it's preparing for us for postseason is huge. So I think for us, it's continuing to learn from those losses, to continue to get better every weekend, and just know what it's doing for us and the preparation that we're taking on for, what's next after conference.
Coach, you've been through this as a coach, and you've seen the way that the teams can learn from this sort of, I guess, battle scarring maybe is the way that I would express it. How do you tell that to your team? Like, how do you get your team to be like, no, guys, like we can learn from this, right?
For sure. Definitely. Everything we do, you're going to learn, you're going to grow, whether if things always go your way, it's going to be difficult to grow. In order to grow, you have to have some things not go your way, at times fall short a little bit, but then get up and continue the grind and get better week after week. I mean, I think that's been the thing we've been talking about all year, is that what's the most important to us is that we're better than we were the weekend before. And that this team continues to do that. I was really proud of Tara this weekend. She had a great weekend behind the plate, at the plate. She was clutch. I really like how she's handling our hitters. So, those are the things that as a coach you like to see. It's just the personal growth that's taking place with each athlete and our team. We are battle tested, and we wouldn't be battle tested if we did not go through this grind of the pack.
Yeah, Tara McGowan went 7 for 16, a .438 average with 3 runs scored, multiple hits in 3 of the 4 games. How about a couple other individual performances? Gabby Herrera had her first multi-hit game off the bench on Saturday. We're seeing the youth movement a little bit with Gabby Herrera and some others.
For sure. And that's where, I can think of Gabby when she first came in the fall, and where she is now, and coming off the bench and clutching up and getting some big hits for us, again, in the pack. So love what she's doing. Love what our youth is doing. I thought Hannah Delgado had a great weekend. I think she was 467 on the weekend. Had a homer. She's just, Coach Schultz calls her the silent assassin, because she quietly goes about her business at the plate, kind of like Maya does as well. So there's a lot of good stuff going on. We are falling short, on a couple wins that we were wanting over the weekend, but looking at the big picture, the experience, the growth, the grind that we are doing every weekend is preparing us, and we just got to keep trusting in our process and know that this is good things are happening for us.
You're talking about individual performances there as Melyssa Lombardi joins us talking Oregon softball. Again, you guys are number 16 in the RPI right now. You're 31-13 overall. I mean, I look at some of these numbers. We look at the schedule. I mean, this is maybe me just being the realist sitting in this chair, right, Coach? I mean, this team is right there. I mean, I feel like that's kind of how I have felt. Is that how you have felt too? Is that it's like, man, just a couple things can go your way and then suddenly this could snowball for you?
Yeah, definitely. I think we're right there. And I think it shows just, I don't think we would be right there if this team didn't continue to grind. I mean, every weekend they're grinding. Every week, the practices that we're having prior to prepare, they're right there. We just got to continue, and I think sometimes when you don't quite get everything you want, sometimes you want to maybe not trust. And I don't think that's the case. It's just us continuing to trust in our process, to continuing to grind and to compete. And you do those things, things will fall the way they're supposed to.
So what's the key then? I mean, that's the obvious question for the person in my chair, right? What's the key to find that consistency throughout your lineup, throughout the rotation, all those different things to get some wins here?
Yeah, I think I think our biggest one is to continue to be better than the prior weekend, to learn from this last weekend and take those valuable lessons into this weekend. And just to keep I think, as long as we compete and we put everything out there, then that's all I ask of these guys, is to compete. And they do. This team is in a good place. We have 2 weeks left in the pack, and I'm excited what this team's doing.
2 weeks left, and then it's regional time, right? And so I should say we haven't had Coach on since this news came out. The Jane Sanders Stadium has been selected as one of the 20 potential sites for regional. So if you didn't know, and the way that it's working this year for both Diamond Sports, determining the 20 potential sites ahead of time, kind of projecting out how things could go, and then the final sites will be selected. The Jane is one of them. So congratulations, Coach, first of all. And, now it's just a question of getting there, right?
Yeah, definitely. We just got to keep doing what we're doing. I think with getting an opportunity to be a host site would be great. We'd love to play at home. We love the Jane, love our fans, just the sort of support of being home. If we have to go on, for some reason, had to go on the road, then we'll be ready to go on the road. But obviously, we would love to stay home.
So this weekend, Arizona is in town. Big Pac-12 series starting at 4 o'clock on Friday. Coach, that one's on ESPN2. Then a pair of Pac-12 games, Pac-12 Network games, I should say, Saturday starting at 2 o'clock with the doubleheader. And then the concluding game on Mother's Day. Just remind everybody, Sunday is Mother's Day. Put it on the calendar if you don't have it already. Sunday is Mother's Day. Noon on Sunday when things will conclude. Arizona, what's the report on the Wildcats this year?
Just typical Wildcats. You know, they're explosive. You know, they've got good pitching. They've got some speed. They just, typical Arizona. So it'll be a fight. It's us going in and playing our game.
They are number 11 in the RPI against number 16 in the RPI Oregon, which is going to make for a pretty darn fun one. Well, I'm just curious, Coach, as we wrap things up, too. I mean, it is senior week. It's going to be one of the strangest senior weeks ever. And let's hope that and this is always the case, I feel like, let's hope that it's actually not the true senior week, and let's hope regionals and super regionals can be senior weekend, right?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. No, this is a weekend to celebrate our seniors, which is awesome because, last year we didn't know if we were going to get to celebrate our seniors. So the fact that we get to do that, we can't wait. We're so thankful for our seniors and what they've done for us. And it's all about celebrating them all weekend long.
Can you tell us just a little bit about that class, Coach? I mean, this is obviously a special group. Some of them that have come back for a little longer time at Oregon than they thought they might have when they first got here.
They're a special group. I look at each one of them. I think of Haley and just the leader she's become and the voice for our program and really just the growth she's had on the field. I think of Samaria coming here and wanting more and just, again, what she's done on the mound. She's going to be walking away with her master's. I think of Maddie Hopper and just an athlete who is selfless and comes off the bench and is just clutch in what she does at the plate. Shea Bowden just wears her heart on her sleeve. I love how she's a competitor and just has so much emotion when she plays. Love that. And just to see what she's going to do afterwards. And then Annalisa, just selfless. She's all about team and doing whatever she can do to be great, but also make the team great. So just they're a really special group. I mean, I can't believe that this weekend is finally here for them. But I'm excited for them. I'm excited for them to finish their career and to walk out the way they want to walk out, but then also to see what that next chapter will be for all of them as well.
That's awesome. Head coach Melyssa Lombardi joining us, Oregon softball, with 2 regular season weekends left. Then it's postseason. We're coming down the stretch here in the month of May. Starts at 4 o'clock on Friday when the Ducks will face Arizona. We'll be televised on ESPN2. It's a big national TV audience before the doubleheader on Saturday at 2 o'clock against Arizona on Pac-12 Network, and then also at noon on Sunday. Our guys at KWVA, the student radio station, will also have the call on the radio side as well. Coach, I can't thank you enough for always taking the time to come on and chat with us. And, hey, best of luck out there at the Jane, huh? Enjoy a little home cooking this week.
Thank you. Thanks, Joey.
All right, we're going to get a quick timeout when we come back. Continuing to look back on spring football, and then, can you believe it? We're looking ahead to fall camp already. Whew! Duck Insider presented by On Point Community Credit Union. We're back after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union. Join in. OnPointCU.com. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Hi, it's Jan from Toyota. Summer's finally here, and with a great deal on a new Camry, RAV4, Highlander, Tacoma, and more, you can celebrate all of your favorite summer holidays, like Cinco de Mayo, Independence Day, International Pizza Party Day. Pepperoni, please. And by pepperoni, I mean Hawaiian.
Kick off summer at your Toyota dealer, where you can save big on all your favorites. This event ends June 1st. See your participating Toyota dealer today. Toyota, let's go places.
Don't go anywhere. Duck Insider continues after these messages on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College. Learfield IMG College.
I'm probably okay to have one more drink before I drive home. I'm probably okay. I open the window to stay alert. Probably okay. I just popped some gum in my mouth.
Step out of the car, please.
I probably made a mistake.
probably okay isn't okay when it comes to drinking and driving. If you see a warning sign, stop and call a cab, a car, or a friend. Buzzed driving is drunk driving. A message brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
When I grow up, I want to be a new pair of blue jeans.
When I grow up, I want to be a kid's first computer.
I want to be a warm fleece on a cool day.
Football
I want to be a
stadium.
bike that races around the country.
I want to be a bench on a forest trail.
When I grow up, I don't want to be a piece of garbage. And if you recycle me, I won't be.
Give your garbage another life. Recycle. Learn how at iwanttoberecycled.org. Brought to you by Keep America Beautiful and the Ad Council.
Back on Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. I'm Joey Mack inside the Country Financial Studio. I said we were going to talk a little spring football, but we do have some, unfortunate news to tell you about, actually, as it's just been announced that Oregon baseball's midweek games against Gonzaga next week have been canceled. University of Oregon baseball's program was scheduled to play Gonzaga May 11th and 12th at PK Park, but because of COVID-19 protocol developments within the Bulldogs program, those games will now not be played. Ducks are scheduled to play Washington at home this weekend in Pac-12 conference play. That starts at 6 o'clock on Friday with a 5:45 pregame show here on the Oregon Sports Network. We do have a lot more to get to, though, including Johnny Johnson. But with that news, and we ran a little bit long with Jody Sykes and Coach Lombardi, a quick timeout. And when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit of wide receivers to finish up the show today as we continue to sprinkle in some spring football interviews after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union. Join in. OnPointCU.com. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
On March 5th, 2021, we lost a larger-than-life member of the Oregon Ducks family. Chris Bjork passed away surrounded by his wife Allison and their 3 sons, Anders, Henry, and Jordy. After spending more than 26 years working with the University of Oregon, we are proud to establish the Chris Bjork Scholarship Fund in his honor. Go to goducks.com/Bjork Scholarship. That's goducks.com/Bjork Scholarship to make a contribution and help us remember a great Duck.
Duck Insider continues after this timeout on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
Whoa. The moment my son saw a redwood tree.
It's huge!
Is the moment I knew that for him,
You can't even see the top of that thing.
even the sky has no limit.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org. Learn about forests near you and discover cool things to do when you go. Your moment is out there. Find it at discovertheforest.org.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Jill, why don't you tell the class what you did this weekend?
Well, my dad and I went in search of some magical minnows and found a zillion of them in the stream from our lookout rock. Then my sister and I escaped from an evil slug king and went back to my super twig fort for safety. Then we told stories till it got dark, and the Big Dipper led us all the way home.
Wow. Where were you, Jill?
We went to the forest. It's not that far away.
Ask your parents to take you and your friends to the forest this week. It's closer than you think. Check out discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Joey Mack inside the Country Financial Studio. Well, I've been talking a lot about Oregon football after the spring game on Saturday. Did a big deep dive yesterday, and really I think tomorrow, as Rob Mosley's going to join me, we'll talk a lot more spring football. Dedicating some time to some other sports today, but I want to finish today hearing from a man that we call Johnny Yams, the Oregon wide receiver, post-spring game. He's the veteran of the group, and he had some good things to say as we have the greatest hits of what Johnny Johnson said post-game after spring camp came to a conclusion.
Johnny, I guess just how nice was it to be out here again? And sure, last season, was it fun kind of seeing some of the younger guys perform so well too?
Definitely. We work so hard in the room. It's just good to see everybody eat, man. I love being out there with the boys.
No worries. Now that you finished spring ball, what's going to be key for you guys to stay sharp before game 1 this summer?
Just staying on top of everything, getting together as a group and, sharpening up everything and, staying on the right track while the coaches is away. I think that's going to be huge for us.
Johnny, how do you feel like the offense played, the first team offense as a whole? And I'm guessing you would say that your 20-yarder would have gone for a touchdown if it was live tackling.
Most definitely. That's going for a tub. But I think we were really electric. We kept it real vanilla today, but I think we made plays out there and we did what we had to do to win the game.
What was it like watching first the touchdown to Dante and then Robbie score there to win it? I know it's a spring game, but anytime you win one of these, it means a lot, right?
Yeah, we work so hard. That we put such an effort in to win and make plays out there. So it's huge to see those dudes making plays, especially the young dudes. I'm so proud of them. So we're going to continue to do that, and it's going to be really exciting.
Yeah, Johnny, what stood out to you offensively throughout the entire spring?
Just the hunger of everybody. Everybody wants to win. Everybody wants to be here. So, I think we're just real motivated, and everybody's having fun. Everybody loves football that's out there. So, these things really coming together, and I'm really excited for this year.
Just what did you make of the whole quarterback play as a whole today, Johnny? We got to see all four of them. All of them made some nice plays, but what was it like from your perspective? And I guess just Anthony in particular threw it more than everybody else. What was your take on him?
Just great decision making. Like he always has, the poise he has back there. And just leading us down the field and making all the right decisions. He's doing a great job, and he's going to continue to do that.
Anthony Brown, who he's talking about there, we're going to talk with Anthony Brown and hear a little bit from Anthony Brown coming up tomorrow. That's going to be a big show tomorrow. We had so much content to get through on a Monday. Coach Cristobal, hearing about every other sport around Oregon athletics. Now today, spending some time. What a great conversation on Athletic Director Tuesday, brought to you by Pepsi and locally owned Bigfoot Beverages with Jody Sykes. I just always appreciate her taking the time to chat and go through everything as it relates to some of the inner workings of college athletics, but also just a tremendous season for Oregon women's golf. They're getting rolling next Monday. Yeah, that's right, next Monday when the Ducks will start in the regional out in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And then, tomorrow we'll be able to dive in a little deeper to Oregon football. I want to kind of do a spring game depth chart breakdown, post-spring game depth chart breakdown. Going to hear from a number of wide receivers, some guys on the defensive side. And, man, I think that it's amazing to look at the depth at certain positions for this team. Now that some guys have enrolled early after the spring, and there's going to be some more guys joining the team, of course, for the fall. But then I think a lot, too, about guys coming back. And just, Johnny Johnson, perfect example, a guy that we didn't think was necessarily going to be back this year. If you'd asked me 2 years ago, you wouldn't be here this year with everything that's happened. And gives the Ducks and some other programs around the country a little bit more depth out there as well. So that's tomorrow. Really looking forward to it. Rob Mosley will join us for our regular conversation. We're actually going to record a conversation with Mike Jorgensen tomorrow morning, and we will have that for you later in the week, the thoughts from Jorgie as we recap the Oregon football spring game. If you are just joining us, unfortunately, the midweek games scheduled for next week for Oregon baseball have been canceled against Gonzaga due to COVID developments within the Bulldogs program, but the Ducks still scheduled for Oregon baseball to play Washington coming up Friday at 6 o'clock. Good show today. Let's do it again tomorrow. We'll see you.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
Jelly. Jelly adjective. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.